Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a detailed guide video on how to prepare ourselves for the patch 1.2 to get up to 78 free acquaintance fates by leveling characters from level 20, 50 and 70. And also how much exactly the materials we need and how much resin do we need for all of those characters. In this video, we'll look at one of the most important features with patch 1.2, the free acquaintance fate with each character. We'll look at how the Ascension works and what does it require to go to each Ascension levels, and how much XP, how much everything needs. And also we'll look into detailed comparisons of number and stats, which level is better. Is it better to go to 1 to 70? Is it better to go to 1 to 50 first? And finally, we'll look at a very comprehensive and also helpful Excel guide, which can allow us to keep a track from a character from level 1 to 20, level 20 to level 50, and also level 50 to level 70 for all the acquaintance fates we want. This is a wonderful resource tracker which allows us to look into different stats, different values. Let's say if you want to get Ember from level 1 to 80, all the numbers required resin and moral will change accordingly. And this is very handy, and we'll go through the instructions and usage of this wonderful Excel. And also how much total experience and everything we need to get all the characters to level 70 or level 50. And we can use this guide as a calculation to prepare for patch 1.2. Now I'm sure most of you have heard by now that if you ascend a character with level 20, 50 and 70, we can get a free acquaintance fate with patch 1.2. And if you already have done so, you will get those back as well. So what exactly does this mean? If we come to the particular live stream, you can see during the live stream, the streamers are showing us by going to different Ascension material preview, you can collect the acquaintance fate after you have ascended. So to understand exactly how to do that, what we need to understand is we will be ascending the characters with level 20, level 50 and level 70. And in order to do so, it's better if we come to a special character. Let's use Ember for the example. With level 20, we can unlock the first Ascension. With level 50, it's the third Ascension. And with level 70, it's the second last Ascension. Now let's first start with the basics. With any of the characters, we start with 0 of the stars. By getting to level 20, we can get the first star for the Ascension, and this will unlock the first acquaintance fate. By getting to level 50, we can ascend with the third star, and this will give us the second acquaintance fate with level 50 Ascension. And we can use Barbara over here as an example. I got to level 50, I ascended for the second star. You don't have to go to level 60. It's very important we can stay on 50, ascend for the second star, and get the second acquaintance fate. And similarly guys, if we get ourselves to level 70, we can ascend for the final acquaintance fate. You do not have to level after that, you can just sit yourself on level 70, you don't have to go to level 80 to get the last acquaintance fate. As long as we are ascend with level 20, 50 and 70, we can get those acquaintance fates. So now that we know the basics, let's look at is it cost efficient wise to go to level 1 to level 50 or level 1 to level 70 right away. So coming over to this post by RenzuMame over here, he showed a very visual pie graph which talks about the resource required for getting to level 1 to level 90. You can see the amount of resource. The bigger slice of the colored pie means the higher resource that it's going to cost. So if we come over here, we zoom a little bit, what we're going to see is if we get a character to level 1 to 20, it costs very minimal resource compared to getting to the whole level. And after that, from level 1 to level 50, it's going to cost from the blue pie into the red pie and the orange pie. So this is the size of the pie to get the character to level 1 to 50. And then, if you want to get it from 50 to 70, you're looking at pretty much doubling how much it costs from 1 to 50. And finally, to get to 80, to get to 90, it costs a lot more. So you can see visually how much it costs to get the characters to higher levels. To be honest, we only need the character to level 70, so we'll be interested on the blue part to the purple part. And we can see right away, if we get a character to level 50, it only costs this much. And this will allow us to get 2 acquaintance fates by going from the blue pie to the orange pie. And finally, if you really want the final fate, you'll have to do pretty much the same resource to get from level 50 to level 70. So it's much better guys if we start with all the characters from level 1 to level 50 first, then go for the last acquaintance fate from level 50 to level 70. And we can see visually how much the comparison is. Coming over to the fandom for Genshin Impact, we can see that totally with patch 1.1, 26 playable characters in the game. And knowing that, I made a small summary. So with the total 6 total characters, we know there are 10 5-star characters and 16 4-star characters. This is why we can get up to 78 free acquaintance fates within the game. And the key is, we already know that we want to get all the characters to level 20, 50 first, then we consider level 70 last. And this is when we don't plan to use the character on the main team. If you look at my main team, I have gotten cleared to level 89. So if you're using them on the main team, it's okay to go beyond and go faster because you'll be needing those characters for the boss fights, for everything else. So right now there are 8 free characters in the game which are easily obtainable. Starting from the Traveler up to Shaolin, those characters are freely given in the game depending on the events and also the game mechanics. Fezzo was a free character from the latest event. So if we want, we can start to work on those 8 free characters, get them to level 50 first, and then consider to get them to level 70 after if we have the spare resource. And we can start to get 16 to 24 Acquaintance Fates this way. Now in order to provide everyone with the best resource to keep a track of your characters and also the Ascension materials, I've spoke to our friend Oble, who made the previous material tracker, to see if we can adjust for the leveling of characters for the Acquaintance Fate. And after working with him, after sharing a bit of numbers and others, he finally made a particular Excel that is very visual and that is very comprehensive. So not only can we use this Excel for the current track of getting up to 78 Acquaintance Fates, we can also use this to keep track of weapons, to keep a track of a lot of good things. And this is actually wonderfully well and wonderfully comprehensive. And I'll show you guys the details. Notice he also have the weapon, the bow ready, and all the details with the bow. So it's very interactive, it's actually automatic, and it's very nice to use. Now once you guys have opened this material tracker from the descriptions, you can see there are a lot of tabs. So here are the details of the tabs, and if you use the previous Excel tracker, you can also import the old files using the particular instructions over here. And after that, what you want to do is they are simple format which doesn't have any images, which give you a really good summary for different material tracking, and also a weekly planner of when to farm what items for what characters. And we'll go through that as well. The second part is more visual and it's more interactive. So those are the 2 tabs we'll be using, the simple and also the detail tab. The other tabs are more for backtracking, and all the content, all the material that is needed is included over here. Don't worry about those, focus on the simple and the detail one. Now if we come to the detail tab first, it might look a little overwhelming the first time you saw those Excels, but those are very handy. So what we want to do first is to understand how to use Excel. Now I'll show you guys how to keep a track to get all the Acquaintance Fates that we talk about. So once I started, I have included some of the characters already, the 3 characters I spoke about, all the characters here, I've inputted them from level 1 to level 50. I'll give you guys an example over here. Let's say if you want to put Shaolin in, we'll go over to the tab, click on the blue part, and then click onto Shaolin. So she's over here. You don't have to type anything, it's all automatic. Once I start with Shaolin, I know that currently my Shaolin is level 1, so I want to get her to level 50 first. I want to see how much everything costs. So over here, click on the cell over here from level 1 to level 50, and I'm going to change the cell to level 50. And notice how the Excel is going to automatically adjust. It will now tell me how much do I need for the Ascension materials to get Shaolin from level 1 to level 50. It will also be predicting all the other resources I'll be needing as well. So we can see how much experience I'll need, how many rounds of the experience flower by setting our level, and also how much more do we need to get the level ups. So this is how much more it needs, and everything that's included here, we can see in total how much Resin does it need to get a character to level 1 to 50. Now there's a big thing, guys. You may be saying, hey, I already have some of the experience books, I already have enough Mora, I don't need to farm them. Then this is why we could come to the total table over here. By clicking this button over here and by adjusting our world level differently, notice all the values across Excel are going to change by changing those. So clicking this button means we can see how much Mora we currently have, and this can deduct the other characters. Let's say if I'm already currently on, let's say I have 2 million Mora, and I have about, let's say if I saved about 300 of those books. So all the numbers will adjust accordingly because of that. And what you want to do is, you want to use the total summary numbers over here to see after having this much resource, how much more do you need. And if I were to get all the characters to level 50 over here, and I can see the whole table summary, I can see that, how many Resin is going to cost me, how many days it will cost me to get all the characters from level 1 to level 50. And this is super useful, not only for this, but for tracking weapons and everything else. Now coming back to our Shaolin example, I'm sure you also noticed the talent tracking. So if I want to get my talent from level 1 to level 6, this will automatically keep track of that. And notice it shows how much teaching and guide of the books we're going to need. And this also shows how much, the rounds of the domains we're going to need, and also how much more for the talents. So this one keeps track of everything, and it's very useful. And now if we drag the tab a little bit to the right hand side, you can see the weapon type as well. So let's say if we have the M's bow, and I'm planning to get my M's bow. I don't even have one. I'm going to use a different example. I'm going to use a 4-star weapon example. Let's say the Crimson Spike. And I'll be trying to get this weapon from level 1 to level 80, let's say. So I'm going to change numbers to level 80, and notice the Excel is going to update because of that. So this Excel tracker updates all the characters, all the weapons accordingly with all the summary of materials we're going to need. If we keep going to the right, you're going to see over here, because I listed the number of characters and weapons, it's going to keep a track to remind me how much materials I want to be farming. What am I lacking? What do I need? And what are the dungeons and what are the days I'll be looking for? So this is actually very comprehensive for the different mobs I'll be looking for the different local specialties, and also the things I can collect. You can also see here the small timer to keep a track of what is my current time, what is my current resin. So this is actually very informative and very comprehensive. Now, what if you felt a little overwhelmed by all the information that is on the detailed Excel? Come to the simple Excel over here, and we'll use the same example for Shaolin. Let's say if I'm trying to get Shaolin to a higher level. So what I do is I'm going to select Shaolin. And what I need to do is I'll need to put down my current Ascension level for Shaolin. If she is Ascension 0, those are the materials needed for Ascension 1. And if I put Ascension 1, those are the material needed for Ascension 2. And this is a step process. If my Shaolin is Ascension 5, what I need is the Ascension 6 materials. And those materials will show over here for the Ascension 6 materials. So basically, put down your current Ascension and it shows the next step Ascension materials required. And if you click on her over here, it's going to keep a track of the materials that you're going to need, and it's going to show you over here as a summary where to get those items for your particular character. So this is a simplified form of the material tracker. This is a more comprehensive form with all the details. There's a lot of ways to use this Excel tracker. You can keep track of all the items you have. You can keep track of all the materials you have. So if you want to use this to more comprehensive details, you can keep a track of all the items you have in the inventory by entering the numbers or take the numbers from the previous Excel. It does take a little time to enter all the numbers, but it's really helpful because now you keep a track of all the things you have. For me personally, it's good enough for me to just enter a character, find what I need, and also keep a track of the days I need to farm different items. How you use it is up to you. And using this wonderful Excel tracker, we can easily have a character from level 1 to 50 for the first 2 Acquaintance Fate. Then we can have the same character from level 50 to level 70 for the materials that's needed. It's important, guys, to keep in mind you want to set the correct world level. And it is very important for us to keep a track of the world levels we have. Let's say if I'm currently world level 7. By putting in world level 7, according to that, the data and the numbers are going to change accordingly. And if you click this button, what it's going to do is it's going to use your existing Mora and also the experience you currently have. So once you click this button, don't look at the values over here, look at the grand total for all the characters. And if you don't click the button, the numbers over here will be very useful. So keep in mind, once you click the button, the numbers over here will disappear because it will be subtracted from your current total. So use the total grand total over here for the better summary. To summarize this video, we had a look at of the total 26 characters in the game, and to be able to get to 78 free fates. In order to do so, we want to get the characters to level 20, 50, then finally to level 70. On this post over here, we saw how much it cost from level 1 to level 50, then from level 50 to level 70. It pretty much doubles for the final fate. And also finally, we had a look at a very detailed material tracker that can be very useful to see the characters from level 1 to level 50, then from level 50 to level 70. And this material tracker can be a lot more useful because we can look into the weapons, we can look into different characters, we can plan the wake out, and also there's a simplified, also detailed version of the tracker. So very thankful for Oble for sharing this to us. Now if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and also turn the little bell on for the latest news. I'll be looking towards to make more builds, guides, tips, and news and event updates for us as we come further into the game. And as always, I wish you guys the best of luck with Genshin and have the most fun in exploring this wonderful world.